Okay, hello, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
What is your name?
My name is Cynthia Woodman.
Okay, and what borough do you live in?
Manhattan.
You live in Manhattan. Why did you come to FPA Foundation? What concerns are you having with ACS?
Well, my daughter had a baby, and ACS is trying to take that baby, and my whole family, we feel we should have the baby. As her next of kin, we feel we should have it instead of it going to foster care. The foster care agency doesn't want to work with us for whatever reasons. They just don't even want to talk to me about the case.
Okay, so you reached out to an ACS worker and she told you
Her
that...
her current worker told me that she could not give me any information about it. Her prior workers from her own case, because she had been in the system too, they are the ones that started contacting me, had me come in to talk about taking the baby, taking Cynthia and the baby, but in the event that she messed up, just the baby. They spoke to me about every angle of it to make sure I understood it, what would happen, you know, as far as letting my daughter, she would have to be on visiting schedule with her own child. We went through all of this. I was supposed to be notified when the baby was born. I wasn't. I find out, I go, I couldn't. Since then, I haven't been able to see a hospital social worker, ACS, nobody.
Okay, could you tell me a little history about your daughter being in foster care?
Okay, about 4 years ago, there was an incident in my home. Cynthia wanted to leave the apartment. I wouldn't let her leave the apartment. So, long story short, she went to school the next day and said that I had hit her or whatever it was, and they called me to the precinct and they told me I was being charged with obstruction of, you know, preventing her from leaving the apartment, and in the scuffle trying to push her away, she was scratched. So they charged me with that. They asked Cynthia if she wanted to go back home. She refused to go home. She has other siblings that never left the home. She said she wanted to go into a group home because she had friends in a group home. They took her. She still, through that time, did not want to come home. She wanted freedom that a group home would provide her with, so she thought. She goes, about 2 months in, she runs away. She has not been in ACS's custody since then. Over the almost 4 years, they have had her periodically. She's returned to Staten Island group home to get her belongings and left. She went there at 1 o'clock in the morning and walked right back out. They couldn't stop her. She appears here and there. She contacts ACS to try to see if they can get her a food stamp case open in the last year. Like, she's contacted them. Without that, they wouldn't have had contact with her at all. And then, which leads up to now, she has the baby, and I don't think they want me to have the baby because it's making up for the fact they didn't have her.
So she's been missing since 14?
Since she was 14 years old.
And she was under the care of ACS?
Yes.
And there was a missing person report out for this child?
And a warrant.
Oh, and a warrant, and they never found this child?
No, because during the time she was missing, she did several things. She had fights with girls, she assaulted a girl, so it was a warrant / missing person. Then one time I went to the precinct, they told me ACS did not renew the missing person photo, so there was nothing they could do. When I told them where she was at and they could go find her, they told me there was nothing they could do because there was not an updated missing person in the system. That time she just wandered the streets. They didn't even bother to go get her. Shortly after that, about a year into that, that's when I stopped calling them because I started seeing her myself, and that's how we developed a relationship. Or I would not even know now that she had a baby or anything. Nobody would have told me. So that's pretty much how that went. ACS was no help at all. Half the time the worker didn't come to court when it was my case with Cynthia. So I don't really understand none of how they work. None of it at all. The one thing they can do is take the job. That seems to be the best thing they can do.
Tell me about this allegation against you. Tell me about the allegation that ACS just came out to your home recently.
Right. A few months ago, Cynthia, when she first went to the hospital for being pregnant in Harlem Hospital, she went because the guy she was with forced her to go. He chased her into the hospital. He didn't want her to have the baby. Cynthia runs in the hospital screaming and hollering. The Harlem Hospital has social workers in there. So the social workers come down, they talking with her, whatever. they called me and told me the situation. I asked them what was going on. They said they was calling the cops or whatever. I told them I couldn't get there. They said, okay, it wasn't a problem, whatever. Cynthia leaves. I thought she was on her way to my home. She didn't show up. 10 o'clock that night, ACS shows up at my door, and they tell me that I now have a case, that it's a neglect or something, because my teenage daughter was in Harlem in a hospital, and she's pregnant, and I was in the Lower East Side the entire time. I then informed them that they can't be right because she wasn't in my custody. She wasn't in my care. She's in ACS's custody. The lady tried to argue with me like, no, it couldn't be possible. Then when I started telling them more and more details of the case, after a while they left. But she insisted on coming into the apartment and asking about my other children. Like, it was just a whole lot of... It upset me, to say the least, because I don't even have my daughter. You don't have my daughter, and now you telling me she has a problem someplace in the world and you can't find her. That's how I took that.
What message would you like to share with the public advocate Letitia James, the mayor Bill de Blasio, the commissioner of ACS, about your experience as a parent dealing with ACS? What message would you like to share with these people?
It's been the most horrible experience of my life. I've lost people, I've lost children, this has been the most horrible experience of my life. It destroyed my family. Me and her father had been together 20 years. I don't know anybody our age that had been together that long. It destroyed my other children. It destroyed my daughter. She's still out there. So, I think they need to do a lot of work.
Do you think they need accountability is needed?
Yes, I think the workers that turned their backs, and everybody, even the police that laughed when they finally got there, and I think everybody should be held accountable for it. They should be. Everybody played a part in what's happening. It's not her fault. They labeled her mentally with a mental disturbance, but yet you just leave her out there. Would you do that to any other person? Because she really does have the mind of a 12-year-old sometimes. You basically left a child out there in the street. Would pick her up and leave her. ACS meets her and buys a pizza. Like, it's a game. So this is why she doesn't take it serious, and now you want to use that against her. All the charges on her papers, the things that they have against her, those are the same things I told them when I wanted them to go find my daughter. I thought she was running around getting high. I thought she was with grown men. I saw her with this one. Now the case is against her. You had the nerve to put that on there, like you know that firsthand. It's just I feel like I did their job. First of all, with an order of protection against me. I found my daughter more times than the police and ACS ever did, with an order of protection. So, and they can't lie about that because they know it's true. The whole system needs to change. The whole system needs to change. Somebody needs to be held accountable, yes.
What message would you like to share with other parents that are experiencing this situation or that are in this situation right now? What message would you like to share with the parents?
That they should come forward, find people to tell. Because most of the time, personal experience, nobody wants to talk about it. You don't want somebody to know that ACS is involved in your life. In the projects or in the city where we come from, it's not a good thing to have these people involved with you because they don't mean good. They destroy families. At some situations they help the children. Yes, they really do. But for the most part, where you could help a family, you're destroying it. Instead of offering help, you just take the child, which rips the family apart. What about the other children in that home? Like, no. The whole thing is hard. It's just ACS. Most people don't want to hear those letters. They don't want to hear it for anything. They don't even want to know you got a case. If your friends know you got a case, they don't want to be too close up because they don't want that to rub off on them. ACS has a bad rap, and I'm not sure they could ever shake that off. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Okay. Thank you for your story. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.